So, with nothing really being revealed about Avengers 4, with the exception of a promo photo that came out not too long ago, and if you missed that, you can check it out in the link above, but with the exception of that, there's really been a lot of mystery surrounding Avengers 4. Nothing official has actually come out or been stated regarding the movie, with the exceptions of Kevin Feige saying a few things here and there, not really giving anything away. Besides the fact that Avengers 4 is going to wrap up the storylines for some of the original Avengers, but that's nothing that we didn't all already know. But just because some things aren't official doesn't exactly mean that we don't know what's going to happen. For example, we all know that Avengers 4 is going to use the quantum realm in some way. And I mean, we all pretty much know that they're going to use it to be traveling through time and to different realities. And of course, we have our leaks. It's really hard to know what's real or what's not real with leaks, but just like anything, if there's enough people involved, something's getting out. I've done a few videos recently on some supposed popular leaks that have been going around, but lately, I've been getting a lot of questions about one certain leak involving the Hulk.
And Hulk. Smash.
In Avengers 4, you should take with a grain of salt because you never know if it's real or if it's just somebody out there making something up for the fun of it. But this leak that many of you have asked me to talk about is about the Hulk wielding the Infinity Gauntlet in Avengers 4. To answer some of your questions, yes, I've heard this leak before. I just didn't really know where it stemmed from because all I heard was it's from someone that was in production went and leaked the plot online. I've seen multiple articles on it, I've seen a lot of videos on it, and I've actually seen it on Reddit from a user that has been quite reputable in the past. He said a lot of things about Avengers Infinity War that ended up being true, so you never really know. It could be true, but again, take it with a grain of salt. So this leak really falls into play with the big main leak that is going around right now that says the Avengers will form their own Infinity Gauntlet, and they will go throughout time and different realities collecting Infinity Stones. Of course, this will be done using Hank Pym's quantum realm technology that we will see in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And this lines up really well with the leak photos that we've seen and the leak footage that we've seen of what appears to be the Avengers. Well, it appears to be Ant-Man, Tony Stark, Bruce Banner, and Captain America back in time to the events of the first Avengers movie in the Battle of New York. And then it goes on to talk about many things that were mentioned again in the main link that's going around. If you have not heard this leak, you can check out the video I did on it in the link above. But this new leak adds to the story. It says that there is a big game changer with the Hulk. The person who leaked this goes on to say, "Finally, the last thing I was told is that the Hulk has a bit of an arc in Avengers 4, and that he is the one to wield the Stark Gauntlet against Thanos." He then wraps it up by saying, "But he ends up losing his arm in the process, not sure how." So this is what has been added to the current leak that we already have, and there's actually two things that are being added here. One is that obviously the Hulk will be the one to yield the Infinity Gauntlet, but two, it's actually going to be Stark's Infinity Gauntlet, an Infinity Gauntlet that Stark makes. It was already highly speculated that Tony Stark would form his own Infinity Gauntlet, but nothing was officially leaked about it. It was only speculated. Now it appears to have shown up in this leak. There were some other theories and speculations that if they're going to alternate realities or going back in time, then they could just go back to Nidavellir and ask King Eitri to make them their own Infinity Gauntlet. But again, according to this leak, Stark makes his own, which is extremely possible. I mean, Tony's a genius. He's a master engineer. He's a master at physics. He is a genius. He's Tony Stark. I mean, I've said it before, but in Iron Man 2, the guy creates an element. He literally makes a new element. I'm sure he could handle forging an Infinity Gauntlet. But we have to keep in mind just how powerful the Infinity Stones are. Thanos wielded the Infinity Gauntlet all throughout Infinity War. Whether he just had 1 stone in it, 2 stones, 3, 4, 5 stones, it doesn't matter. He wielded it the whole entire movie. But if you notice, he only seems to use 1 stone or 2 stones at a time during all these fight scenes. And why is this? I personally think that it's because the power of the Infinity Stones combined is even too powerful for the Infinity Gauntlet to handle. Now, I just want to state that I think this is only for the MCU. It's obviously not the case in the comics, but if you think about it and you look at the end of Avengers Infinity War, it makes sense because Thanos' gauntlet is destroyed at the end of Infinity War. I'm sure Thanos could just use the Time Stone to restore the Infinity Gauntlet, no big deal, but it is clear that using all the Infinity Stones at once is even too much for the Infinity Gauntlet to handle. Yes, it's still intact, but it really looks like it's pretty much destroyed. So Thor saw this at the end of Infinity War. He was right there when Thanos snapped his fingers, and when he asks him what he did, he's looking at the Infinity Gauntlet. He sees it destroyed. And Thor has a great knowledge of the Infinity Stones and their powers. So as the original Avengers unite for the first time in a really long time, I'm sure Thor is going to bring this up to Tony Stark. They'll all be going over the plan of going to different realities and jumping through time to collect all the Infinity Stones, and then Tony's going to bring up forging his own Infinity Gauntlet. And then Thor's going to issue a warning that the Infinity Gauntlet is way too powerful for a puny human to wield. And then I think that this is where it's going to land on the Hulk. The leak says that the Hulk is going to get a lot of time in Avengers 4, which makes sense because he didn't really get any time in Infinity War except for in the beginning where he got the snot kicked out of him. And then we didn't see him for the rest of the movie. I mean, maybe like half a second here and there where he refuses to come out, but he wasn't in the rest of the movie. It was Banner the whole time. So him getting more time in Avengers 4 makes sense. Plus, if they're worried about none of them being able to handle the power of the Infinity Gauntlet, who do you think they're gonna turn to?
Hulk like fire, Thor like water.
Oh, kind of both like fire.
But Hulk like raging fire, Thor like smoldering fire.
Thor might put up an argument for it, but ultimately, I think it would land on the Hulk.
Voice activation required.
Banner.
Welcome, strongest Avenger.
What?
So this theory stating that the Hulk will wield the Infinity Gauntlet in Avengers 4, I can buy it. The angrier the Hulk gets, the stronger he gets. And can he even die? There's a few times in the comics where he dies, but can he die in the MCU? And heck, even one time in the comics, Banner dies, but the Hulk stays alive. But as far as the MCU is concerned, let's not forget about what Banner says in the first Avengers movie. Talks about killing himself, and he says, "In case you needed to kill me, but you can't. I know I tried. I got low. I didn't see an end, so I put a bullet in my mouth, and the other guy spit it out." So you have the Incredible Hulk who gets stronger the angrier he gets, and pretty much can't die. And not to mention that it looks like we might get Professor Hulk in Avengers 4, judging by the leaked photos that have been released. Which means that Banner and the Hulk will kind of be merged as one character, so you won't have to worry about the Hulk just going crazy and having no control because Banner will be there, so there will be control. So you put those three things together, and yeah, he's my choice to wield the Infinity Gauntlet. And as far as him losing his arm goes, I'm not too sure about that one. There's a lot of different ways that they could take that. The Infinity Gauntlet could be just too strong for him to handle and somehow it chops his arm off. Or Thanos chops off his arm to get the Infinity Gauntlet from him. Again, there's so many different ways they can take that, and I really just don't know which way they're going to go, so I can't speculate too much. But one last question that I was asked by many of you is that will the Hulk actually wield 2 Infinity Gauntlets like he does in the comics? And my answer to this is almost definitely not. I don't want to cross anything off. It could certainly happen, but I just really don't think it will. The universe that the Hulk wields these Infinity Gauntlets in is the Ultimates universe. The Ultimates universe is known for putting twists on characters and plots. And when the Hulk yields these 2 Infinity Gauntlets, there are actually 4 stones in each of the gauntlets, and that's because there are 8 stones in that universe. So it would be a major shakeup in Avengers 4 if they introduced 3 new Infinity Stones. As incredibly cool I think it would be to see that in the movie, I just really don't think it's going to happen. But I can see this supposed leak playing out on the big screen. It does line up with the other leak that was released not too long ago. And it would give the Hulk more story time. But again, who knows with these leaks? Take it with a grain of salt. As always, it is my pleasure to report these to you and give you my input on them, so do what you will with them. Only time will tell. I love all the questions you guys ask me, so if you have any, be sure to leave them in the comments below or DM me on Twitter. Let me know what you think about this leak. Would you be excited to see this on screen if it turns out to be true, or would you like to see it be taken a different way? If you don't mind, hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any new Avengers 4 leaks. As always, thank you so much for watching. Woof woof.